Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. So, if you build or manage data architectures, you're probably intimately familiar with the distinct, everyday friction of trying to marry your infrastructure and your data. Well, today, we're exploring a truly groundbreaking release that tackles this head-on, the Snowflake and AWS Custom Lens for the AWS Well-Architected Framework. Think about it. How do you actually map your security controls when you're operating across two totally different environments? Running Snowflake on AWS often feels like trying to navigate a sprawling city while looking at two completely different maps at the exact same time. You've got an infrastructure map in one hand, a data compute map in the other, and the street names don't even match up. Actually, scratch that. It's more like trying to read a subway map and a street map layered over each other. It is an absolute nightmare for consistency. Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's our roadmap for how we're going to solve this disconnect. We'll start with the two-framework problem, then meet the custom lens, explore 7 pillars under one architecture, check out 3 ways to access it, and finally, go over starting your first review. All right, part 1, the two-framework problem. You probably know the drill here. The AWS Well-Architected Framework? It's entirely focused on the infrastructure side. We're talking your VPCs, EC2 instances, and IAM roles. Meanwhile, the Snowflake Well-Architected Framework is hyper-focused on compute and data organization, your virtual warehouses, role-based access control, and network policies. Reconciling these two separate processes, it stretches production readiness timelines to their absolute limits. And worse, when audit time rolls around, you're left scrambling to patch together disconnected audit evidence, which creates some pretty terrifying compliance gaps. Which brings us to the solution in part 2, meet the custom lens. So what exactly is this thing? The Snowflake and AWS Custom WAF Lens basically brings these two disconnected worlds together into a single, cohesive review experience. It gives you integrated recommendations that actually reflect how both of these services compose together in a live production environment. The crucial takeaway here is that this lens acts as a single GPS for your architecture. It entirely replaces the need to constantly cross-reference two wildly different sets of cloud documentation. Moving right along to part 3, 7 pillars, one architecture. Let's see how this actually works in practice. Let's talk about security and identity. This framework maps out a true defense-in-depth strategy. Instead of treating your network security like isolated silos, the lens tells you to use AWS Private Link between your Amazon VPC and Snowflake, and then actively layer your Snowflake network policies right on top of your EC2 security groups. It's brilliantly coordinating your access controls across both the AWS infrastructure plane and the Snowflake data plane. Next up is data governance and compliance. And honestly, this is how you achieve dual custody encryption without the utter headache of running two completely separate architectural reviews. On the AWS side, you're dealing with KMS, Customer Managed Keys. On the Snowflake side, it's Tri-Secret Secure and Dynamic Masking. The integrated recommendation merges these seamlessly. Use AWS KMS with Snowflake Tri-Secret Secure, and then apply Snowflake masking policies for column-level protection. One review, absolute end-to-end data protection. Before we go any further, let's quickly summarize how reliability and performance are perfectly, beautifully coordinated to handle failovers and compute sizing. For example, it aligns Snowflake time travel retention directly with your Amazon S3 versioning policies. And for performance, you aren't just guessing anymore. You're matching Amazon EC2 automatic scaling on your application tier directly with Snowflake's multi-cluster warehouse auto-suspend features. Now, I want to speak directly to the FinOps practitioners tuning in right now, because the cost optimization pillar is absolutely going to make your day. Instead of optimizing one application at the expense of the other, the lens shows you exactly how to combine your AWS Cost Explorer data with your Snowflake credit consumption into a single integrated FinOps dashboard. You just tag resources with matching cost center labels, and suddenly two entirely different billing models actually make sense together. And here is a genuinely groundbreaking fact. Sustainability is a first-class pillar here. No joke, this is the very first joint ISV-AWS framework to ever elevate sustainability to a first-class concern. It isn't just an afterthought, it is baked right into the core review process. So, how do they actually pull that off? Well, by aligning Amazon S3 intelligent tiering with Snowflake, the framework pushes you to use zero-copy clones for your pre-deployment testing instead of creating massive, full data replicas. This drastically reduces both your storage overhead and your overall environmental footprint. You are literally saving money and building a greener architecture at the exact same time. Okay, part 4, 3 ways to access. Let's look at how your teams can deploy this. There are exactly 3 access points, and this is huge because it means your team can run a fully integrated, comprehensive review without ever having to context switch or leave the tools they already use every single day. Method number 1 is the traditional route, the AWS well-architected tool console. You just grab the custom lens JSON file, sign into your AWS console, select custom lenses, and upload the JSON. What's fantastic about this is that it generates a highly structured improvement plan, giving every best practice a high-risk or medium-risk rating, so your stakeholders know exactly what needs fixing first. Now, if you're a developer who absolutely loves AI assistance, Method 2 is definitely for you. You can run this right inside Kiro, the AI-powered IDE from AWS. You just download and unzip the power, open it up in the Kiro IDE, and simply type "Run a Snowflake and AWS WAF review" right in the chat. It gives you a conversational review, classifying findings as red, yellow, or green, and organizes your recommendations into now, next, and later time horizons. And finally, Method 3. This is for teams who want to stay entirely inside the Snowflake ecosystem. You can use Snowflake Cortex code. You can run this locally via the CLI or use it directly in the browser using Snowsight. You simply unzip the skill, upload the folder as context in your Snowsight workspace chat, and enter Run the Joint WAF skill. It's an interactive, AI-guided review right where your data lives. Which leads us to our final section, Part 5, starting your first review. So what is the game plan here? Well, the clearest path forward is to tackle the security and reliability pillars first. Why? Because the integrated AWS and Snowflake guidance in those specific areas will surface the absolute highest impact findings for your production workloads. Once you run those, just export your improvement plan as a PDF or JSON to prioritize the fixes with your stakeholders. To sum it all up, the source material puts the ultimate value proposition perfectly. The lens helps identify Snowflake architectural risks alongside the corresponding AWS remediation paths, showing where both layers need to be aligned. You are no longer fixing your infrastructure in the dark while just crossing your fingers and hoping your data layer survives. They are finally moving together. I want to leave you with a question to chew on today. Are your infrastructure and data architectures finally speaking the exact same language? If the answer is no, or even if it's just I'm not sure, I highly challenge you to run your first joint review today. Grab the custom lens JSON, boot up Kiro or Cortex code, and experience what a truly unified cloud feels like. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.